Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. I'm so happy to have you joining me today. In today's video, we're going to be making an outdoor potting table. I'm super excited for this, so thanks for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. I have wanted an outdoor potting table for as long as I can remember. It is something I've always wanted to have. I've always done my potting in my house, in my sink, and it's never clean, let's just be honest. So having an outdoor potting table is ideal for repotting plants, for getting seeds started, not to mention it's just super cute. So I went onto Pinterest and I scoured pictures, and I was lucky enough to find a DIY filled with plans and pictures and exactly what to do, and I will have that linked for you down below. I found the original plans on Anna White's blog. I hope I'm saying her name right. It's either Anna or Anna, and like I said, I'll have it linked for you in the description box below. It's a very easy DIY, and what Danny and I did was we started by buying pressurized wood. So this is going to be completely up to you on whether or not you want to purchase pressurized wood or not. The difference is just that one is a little bit more outdoor friendly. So with pressurized wood, you don't really have to seal it. It is, good to go. It's the same wood that's being used on our deck. So staining it just, keeps it nice and protected. So that's what I'm doing here. So you'll notice that the wood has a little bit of a different tint to it, and that's because it's pressurized. And that whole process of how to make it that way is, I don't know how to describe it. It's not something I know how to do or know, what needed to be done, but you can Google it and find out what the difference is with pressurized wood. But I am staining all of the wood pieces. Danny had already cut them to size for the most part. He was just finishing some up, and while he was doing that, I was doing all of the staining, and I'm staining it in the color Early American. Now, please keep in mind that stain looks different on every piece of wood. So if you are about to stain something, I would highly recommend that you do some kind of sample on your piece of wood, because stain is always going to look different. So like I said, this wood is pressurized, so it has a little bit of a green or blue hue to it. That was Griffin coming to get my phone out of my pocket. Anyway, so the stain looks a little bit different on this wood because of those, blue and green hues to it. So I can't guarantee that the wood that you use is going to look like this, especially if you use a different type of wood. So I would highly recommend that you do a sample on anything that you are about to stain. But what I will say is Early American has proven to be my new favorite stain. It's the same we used on the large beams on our front porch, and it's the same color we used on our back deck. And it's just a really nice, oak color, but it's not dark. I know for a long time, walnut was really popular, that really, really dark wood, or, close to an espresso color wood, but I wanted something that was going to look a little bit more rustic, a little bit more weathered, and that's why I like the Early American. You can actually make it look a little bit more weathered if you want to add weathered oak stain to the top of it, or even some wood bleach if you wanted. And obviously you don't have to stain it at all. You could just leave it, the natural color that it is. But if you see the beams on our front porch here, as well as the pergolas above our garage and the window upstairs, those are all the same Early American, and those are sealed with polyurethane. So they just look really, really beautiful. They last for a long time. And I would highly recommend this beautiful stain. I just think it looks really nice. So, and fun fact, if you didn't know this, Danny actually designed those pergolas. We built them together. We had, a vision in mind. I wanted something very rustic. I didn't want anything that looked, too perfect. I wanted it to look like we made it and threw it up on our house. And eventually I'd like to have some kind of greens growing around it. I think I want to do jasmine because it smells really nice, but Where we live, we're in a zone 6, so if you know anything about planting and gardening, we're going to have to find something that's either weather resistant, or I'm going to have to just accept that it's going to have to regrow every year. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But he did build those, and I stained them, and then he and our builder put them up, and they're just gorgeous. They're so heavy, those pergolas, but they are worth it. I love the look that they bring to our farmhouse. And I'm just going to take some time now to just finish doing all of this staining. I wanted to have all the pieces done and stained before Danny started building them. I would highly recommend that you use some kind of glove when you're doing this, because the stain will stain your hands. I did check at the beginning if it was coming through these heavy duty gloves, and it didn't, thank goodness. I would have been so upset because I had recently gotten my nails done. However, I double checked and it did not come through. So if you're going to take on this project, my recommendation to you would be to stain all the pieces before you put it together. You can stain it once it's all done, but you know, that's up to you. I also did not sand any of these boards down. I wanted, again, that really rustic look. I didn't want anything that was going, you know, to look like it was too perfect. This wasn't going inside my house. I had intentions of it being outside. It's meant to be dirty. It's meant to be covered in pots and potting soil and seeds. So I did not sand anything. I wanted to keep it nice and rustic, and I am obsessed with how this table turned out in the end. I can't wait for you to see it. The next thing I'm going to do is cover this flower market sign that I purchased from Hobby Lobby in enamel. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want it to be safe outside. So it is on my covered porch. However, it's going to be exposed to the elements, and so I wanted to keep it safe. So I bought this satin clear enamel, and you can use polyurethane, you can use, you know, whatever you want. I wanted something that was not going to change the look of this sign because I loved the colors, and you have to be really careful with polyurethane sometimes because it will darken the wood. And so this wood has a nice like bleached look, a sun bleached look, and so I wanted something that wasn't going to change that. So now it's time to get to the building. I was not super helpful in this part. This was pretty much all Danny. He did make a mistake here at the beginning, which he's now figuring out, but he fixes it. It's okay. And in the background, you're going to see my boys. They were outside playing the whole time. It was so nice. I love that we have this big long driveway. We call it our street because it basically is for all intents and purposes. But Danny's just going to take some time to put this together, this whole table. It is a very, very easy design. So if you don't have someone else to put this together for you and you're not afraid to use power tools, I'm sure that you would have no problem putting this together. Luckily for me, I had Danny to do it, but if he wasn't around, I 100% believe that I could have built this on my own. It is a very easy design, and it just takes the right tools. You'll definitely need a drill, and he's using an angle there to make sure that everything is straight, and it's all about to come to life here in just a couple minutes. At about the halfway point, you can really start to see this table come to life. I was so excited as this was coming together, and he kept asking me if I wanted, things to be super measured and spaced out, exactly just right. And I told him absolutely not. I want it to look, as rustic as possible, like it's been there forever. And so, I didn't want anything to be too perfect. So he's just going to get this finished up here, and then he'll start to put the slats on the bottom, and then we'll get to decorate it. I found this to be the most exciting part of the whole table when he put the boards across the top here, and we actually got to see this thing really come to life. I just love the way this looks. It finally looked like an actual potting table, and I was so excited. Now these bottom pieces are the exact part of what I was talking about when I said, please don't measure anything. So they're not perfectly spaced out, between them, but I was really, really good with that. I did not want it to be perfectly spaced out. So if you're more particular, you can, measure those out if that's important to you. But I was totally okay with it. The other thing too is that Danny did change up some of these pieces. They did call for much thicker pieces, but to keep the cost of this table down, we did go with some smaller pieces of wood. So when you watch, the original, or when you read the original blog, I'm sorry if it looks slightly different, that's why. You don't have to do that. You can, do the measurements exactly as they are on the plan. That's perfectly fine. Or you can decide to do things, a little bit more affordable like we did. So now I'm just measuring out where I want to hang these gardening tools. Again, I told Danny I didn't want the pieces to be, perfect. So I picked up these hooks from Home Depot, I believe. They're the exact same hooks that we have in our laundry room on the wall tree. And what you're about to see, that they're not, perfect. They're a little bit crooked, and I love that. I love that they are not, perfect on there, and that we didn't measure it all out. I just love that look. And now it was time to get this thing over onto the porch. It was really, really heavy. So if you can see the difference in the stains, right here, it's the same exact stain color on this table as it is on the pergola and those beams on the porch. The only difference is that we used an outdoor polyurethane on those to make them, waterproof, where this table I did not do that because I did not want to darken the color of it. So that's the really big difference there. And we're trying to figure out exactly where we want it. I was trying to decide if I wanted it down in the rocks where there will eventually be a flower bed, but I love the idea of having it here on the front porch, especially right here outside of the laundry room window, because I can see it from the laundry room, which is beautiful, and it also covers up that dryer vent. And now it's time to decorate, the part I was most looking forward to. I'm starting with this flower market sign. Like I said, I purchased that at Hobby Lobby. It's part of their spring decor, and it was 40% off. And then I'm also going to hang these gardening tools. Now these are brand new. I purchased them from Home Depot. I was thinking about going and finding some kind of antique, but I didn't want anything that was going to be rusted because I was actually going to be using them. And you don't want to use rusty tools with your plants because that is really unhealthy for your plants. So I was okay buying new ones, and the one was just hanging down really, really low, and so I decided to kind of wrap it around the hook, and I decided to hang them together. I just thought they looked sweet that way. And then I've got my potting mix right there, and I'm not going to endorse any specific type of potting mix. That's just the one I have right now. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the worst. Just the one I had in the house. And I also had these galvanized tin pieces also from from Hobby Lobby. So the little watering can and that little bucket, both again from Hobby Lobby. They were 50% off during a table decor sale. And then I had this beautiful fern that I had just purchased at Home Depot. I'm getting all the H's mixed up, but it's from Home Depot. It's in the indoor garden section. It was for hanging up in the house, but I decided to just stick it here on the porch. You got to be careful with ferns. They do, need a lot of water and care. They're pretty finicky, so you got to keep an eye on them. And then I have all those pots there that I have either collected from dollar sections, from plants that I've purchased at the grocery store and repotted, and I just put those down there at the bottom. So here is how it's looking. I love it. It is so sweet. I ended up putting some seeds in the little bucket that Danny and I had just recently purchased that we're going to be planting here shortly. Our plan is to eventually have a vegetable garden and a cut garden and lots of beautiful flowers growing everywhere. So this potting table is going to come in handy. But that is how this table turned out, you guys. I hope that you love it. It is such an easy project. If you've been wanting a potting table, I would highly recommend taking on this challenge. It was super duper easy, and I think you'll love it in the end. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. I'd love to have you subscribe and come back for more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.